This is why we wanted to play games like this, play against high-level opponents, opponents that are going to be participating in the World Cup. Good test for us, great evaluation period, and we got work to do. We clearly need to improve, but overall, really good experience for this team. Give Japan a lot of credit. I think they played a good game. And, they gave us a hard time. I think at times we were well in the match and performing well. But overall, over 90 minutes, could have been better. Wasn't good enough.
Thank you. We take some questions from floor. Please raise your hand. Go ahead.
Greg, what did you see as kind of what the struggles were, especially in their ability to your guys' ability to get through that press, to find those line-breaking passes in the first half? I thought a lot. And it seemed like maybe there was lack of energy within the team in general, which is surprising considering the proximity of the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the energy side of it. I don't know if the proximity of the World Cup has anything to do with it. The guys didn't look fresh. And from a physical output, we just looked a step behind. And then it's difficult. And then a team like Japan will punish you. But I think, the adjustment in the second half helped. It gave us more control of the game, gave us more passes between the lines. But in the first half, I think it was just the lack of comfort on the ball, silly giveaways. We built the opponent up. After a decent start, but then it started snowballing and giving some balls away, and it wasn't, what we envisioned.
Okay. Gentleman over there.
Thanks. Greg, can you elaborate a little bit on the status of Christian's injury? And on top of that, just kind of following on what Paul asked, what do you put the performance in the first half down to? And what was the message to the guys at halftime? What was the locker room?
Well, it was just we got to be better. We weren't good enough. Easy plays we're not completing. There was, to me, I felt we were getting out competed by Japan in the first half, and it was okay, guys. What do we want to do here? It's hard to tell if this evaluation period or guys feel like they're being heavily evaluated and it's affecting them. But, I think we need to play with personality. We need to play relaxed. We need to play with intensity. And when we do these things, we're a really good team. But when we don't, we're an average team.
Greg, just to get more on Pulisic, if you could check on that.
Oh, yeah.
And then also just your assessment of the center back pairing and the decisions to make some changes at halftime.
Yeah, so we had some planned subs at halftime. Serginho hasn't been playing that many minutes. We wanted to get him off. Gio was planned subbed at halftime. Jesus was a planned sub at halftime. And so actually so was Aaron Long. So we wanted to get 4 guys on and give them a fair opportunity. I think, one thing we have to remember is this is still, there are still players being evaluated, and we still, want to give them the opportunity. We have some injuries in our lineup, so it's great to give other guys a chance. And we made all 6 subs with the eye to be able to evaluate some guys. Christian, his status is day to day. It was a knock, and we'll see tomorrow if he can get on the field and train. Yeah, I think the center backs, there were some good things, and there were some things that can be improved. I think Walker in general was one of the guys that I saw competing the whole game, battling the whole game. Perhaps we can move the lineup quicker, so we got a little stretched at times. But I'll evaluate the performances of the other 2 center backs, and we'll speak to them about it after seeing the tape.
Greg, you talked about how this is an evaluation period. I mean, did anyone help themselves today with that performance?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, there's not 26 guys that are it's not fair to say that everyone's on the block here. I mean, there's guys that have a lot of water under the bridge with this team and played a lot of good games. I think when I evaluate the game in its entirety, I just said we performed below expectations. We weren't up to our normal standard, and that's almost across the board. So it's disappointing because you get the opportunity to play against a good opponent. It's going to be a technical opponent. They're going to be pressing. You know what the parameters are of this game, and it's a great opportunity for us, and I just don't think we took advantage of it.
Hi, this is George Mizutani from NHK, Japan Broadcasting Corporation. I just wanted to ask how the adjustments that you made in halftime, you mentioned a little bit about them before, but as my opinion, it looked like you had Sam Vines a little more ahead of his usual position to have more pressure on the central field against Japan. If that's right or wrong, or did you have any other adjustments that you made in the halftime?
Yeah, we changed our build-up shape. We saw how they were pressing, so we made some adjustments, and I think that gave us more control, put them in some problems. But at the end of the day, we still didn't create enough goal-scoring opportunities, and that's what we're not happy with. But some better possession, better line-breaking passes, and overall, helped us stabilize ourselves in the game.
Thanks, Greg. What did you think about Matt Turner's performance today?
I thought he did okay. I thought he did all right. He made, some good saves, some saves that looked like he's been facing some good shots in training. And I thought he played okay. I need to check the tape again, analyze it more thoroughly. But my initial reaction is that he played fine.
This is probably far down your list of concerns, and you wouldn't use it as an excuse. Did you get any feedback from players about the field? Did it give anybody issues?
I think it gave everybody issues, but including Japan. Unacceptable field conditions, but that's part of the game, and it's not an excuse why we didn't perform well.
I know they didn't get a ton of the ball, but what did you think of Jesus and Josh?
There were some moments for both of them. Jesus had, good chance with the header in the far post, just a little bit out of reach. Helped us in build-up sometimes. The first half was more complicated. It was crowded in midfield. We opened that up in the second half and enabled Josh to get on some balls and had some decent layoffs. And, overall, again, we look at our forwards on chances that they're getting in the match, and that was very few for both of them. So really hard to make a complete evaluation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
The performance overall.
I think we're pretty disappointed with how it went, especially the first half. We played it into their pressure a good bit, and a lot of their chances came from our mistakes. So that's something that we obviously have to look back on and realize that we can't force it so much inside all the time, especially when teams are put in a shape to make us do that. And maybe there are times when we can stretch them and get in behind with some runs and behind, a little more direct in some points in the game. So, I think it was just not a great start for us. We got some more of the ball, more possession there in the second half with the change of the shape. I thought we had more success in that shape. But again, a lot of their chances came from our mistakes. And so it's something that we have to be held accountable for and be responsible with.
Greg talked about a lack of intensity. Did you sense that out on the field? And if so, why do you think that was?
I don't think any of us went out there, not motivated for the game, motivated to play well. I think certainly there were moments where they were the first ones to second balls. They were the ones kind of maybe winning some duels, but I don't know that it was a lack of motivation from us. Sure, maybe we could have done better winning some second balls, winning some initial challenges, but sometimes you aren't able to get to those balls and they can create transition moments. And I think that could maybe be said, but in terms of the motivation and the mentality of the group, I don't know that we felt we were going in taking it lightly or taking it as a friendly. It was definitely, hey, let's try and come out in a good way, but unfortunately we weren't able to do so tonight.
Walker, you mentioned that change of shape second half. How comfortable with the personnel with Mark and Reggie?
That was good. You know, it's something that we've done a few times in games in the past, definitely in some training in the past. And so those are guys, you know, you look at Reggie playing a little bit more of that role at his club level, playing on the right side in a 3. And then Mark, obviously comfortable playing on the left side. So a shape that we're ready to adapt to. We can always morph into that shape if we need to. And I thought, again, it created more problems for them, more composure for us, and we were able to kind of circulate the ball a little bit easier there in the second half.
In the first, you talked about the shape, but the movement looked a little stagnant as well. What did you think of it?
Yeah, again, I think it's how they were set up. You know, we were being pressed by their front 2 guys. Their wingers were sagging, preventing some balls to the fullbacks and sometimes into that pocket. And so we'd try and force it to one of our 6s to try and make a bounce. It's not a great field to do that, to be honest with you. And sometimes when we did try and find the pocket, their fullback came up really tight to Brendan, for example, on my side. And those are moments where maybe we do need to stretch them, get in the channel with the forward making a run, and have them go against the center back. We step up, and then we become the team that presses. So it's some learning moments for sure. So, you know, that's a good team. It's a good side. They played a good game. So we have to give them credit for how they set up and pressed us. But there are definitely things that we could have done to have been better in that first half for sure.
What did you make of the performance on the whole?
Not ideal. It's a loss. We tried to use these games to replicate what a World Cup scenario would look like. And yeah, for us, that would be that we didn't get 3 points at the end of the day. So we need to figure it out because, yeah, we have obviously high standards for ourselves, especially going into a World Cup in 2 months. So we need a better performance heading out of this camp.
Walker, Gregg, Matt, they all talked about the struggles in the first half. From your perspective, what did you see that was going wrong there and that was causing you guys some issues?
Yeah, I felt like we were just playing into Japan's hand. We could have figured out quite easily that they were pressing us high, and the solution, I think, in the beginning of the game was probably to play a little bit more direct, a little bit in behind to settle that pressure, have them think to drop off a little bit and create a little bit more space, a little bit more calmness on the ball. But yeah, I mean, it was difficult. We didn't find solutions early on, and yeah, as the game went on, we started to find a little bit more solutions, but we just didn't create any clear-cut chances.
Do you think that was because, has it been a while since you faced a team that was willing to do that to you?
Oh, it's a good question. I think that, yeah, some of the teams in CONCACAF, you know, the Mexicos and the Hondurases, they've pressed us, and we found solutions. But yeah, we just need to find solutions earlier on. I think that we had a match plan, and I think it would have been effective if we stuck to the game plan. But sometimes I just felt that maybe we just started to search for individual solutions instead of, you know, sticking together, sticking to the match plan, staying disciplined in our game plan. And you saw Japan; they did that well. They had one game plan, and it was effective the whole game. So yeah, again, a learning experience.
What was the match plan?
Yeah.
He said, what's
the match plan? In the beginning, it was if that the wingers were pressing narrow, then we were going to find the solutions in the overplay, would get Serginho and Sam the ball and find the channel down the line. If they were pressing wide, then me and Weston and Luca should have found space on the ball. But yeah, we just didn't find those solutions early on. I think we rushed things and forced things, and that caused a lot of turnovers in dangerous areas.
Were you surprised, given this group, even though it's young, has been together for a couple of years, and the World Cup's coming up pretty close, pretty soon. Were you surprised that the game played out the way it did for you guys?
No, I think there's a bump in the road eventually. It has to come. You know, I think that, you know, we never got too high after we qualified for the World Cup. There was even performances during qualifying that we had to learn from. Now you're playing a high-level World Cup quality opponent. Sometimes you need to get knocked down and a little bit humbled again. And again, yeah, our team is young, but I think today maybe we were a little bit naive. But again, credit to Japan. They had a good game plan, good players, and they executed well.
Gregg said that he thought the team was lacking a little bit of personality. Do you agree with that? What do you put that down to, if so?
Yeah, personality, intensity. I think we lacked a little bit of everything today. I think everyone could agree with that. So, yeah, I think our personalities shine through usually in the biggest moments. But today, the intensity has to be the starting point in a game like that, and we lacked that.
Tyler, how do you think the spacing affected you guys versus just like overall sloppiness, technical things? Gregg did mention the field. It's not an excuse, but it wasn't. He said it wasn't acceptable field conditions. How much do you think it was, tactical spacing, you, Luca, West in the first half, figuring things out versus, sloppiness?
Oof, yeah, combination of both probably, right? I don't think you can blame it on either one of those things, but it was pretty sloppy from all of us. Myself, Weston in moments, Luka in moments. We need to be sharper, especially in a game like that if you want to break down a good opponent like that.
What's your leader on this team? What do you do the next couple of days before the next game to help get guys in a position to play well?
Yeah, I think you need to take a step back probably, right? A little bit of a refresher. Look at video, go over the things that you need to. I know Gregg will have a lot of things to show us and go over. He's very detail-oriented. But then it's about training hard the next couple of days and executing it. You can't really take a break now. So we only have 3 more days of training probably before the next game. So we got to lock in and stay focused because, you don't want to go into this last game on a bad note. You want to be refreshed, revived, and bring a lot of energy to that last game.
Matt, you had as good a view as anyone about what was going on in the first half. I mean, why do you think the team struggled so much to kind of play out and get out of its own half?
I thought they did a good job pressing us. They had a clear game plan. They kind of knew what to expect, and it was almost like they were thinking a few things before us. And I think it took us too long to adapt to the game. But once we did, we had some really good moments. And I think that overall, there's going to be times where we're suffering on the field, and we have to be able to make adjustments on the fly. And I think that's the lesson for today is we're going to have to be able to make those adjustments and move forward, move on, and get results.
What's the mood like in the locker room?
Frustration, obviously. I think we're all disappointed with ourselves because it could have been more competitive. We could have gotten into more duels. I think Japan, credit to them, they were really, really up for it today. And it showed on the field. So I think that's something that we wish we showed our personality a little bit more on the field. And so obviously guys are a little disappointed.
How much does all of that concern you, given you only have one more tune-up and World Cup's 2 months away?
Better now than the first game in Qatar. So it doesn't really concern me. The reaction to failure is what greatness is built from. So it's going to be all how we approach this next game, how we play, and then from here on out, just the reaction from a game like today's.
There were a lot of changes to the players just in front of you in the second half. What shifts did you see in how the team played with those changes?
Yeah, we obviously changed outside back on the right side, and then we changed our left center back. I thought both guys came in and did a great job, Reggie and Mark. And it's that time where you're going to have to, if you're given the opportunity to play, you have to go out there and show why you deserve to play. And so I thought I saw guys out there giving their all, but unfortunately today it just wasn't enough.
The first half it seemed to
my performance, I'm not one to really big up myself, so I'm disappointed because we lost and 2 goals went into the net. So overall, some good things, some things definitely improve upon, and that's just the way I view everything.
The first half, you guys seem to lack a little bit of energy. Do you think that, Gregg said that he doesn't know if maybe the evaluations are in guys' heads, that maybe had an impact? What did you feel like kind of was lacking to start things off?
I think just the intensity. I think something that was so great for us throughout World Cup qualifying, throughout some of the games we played, is just the intensity that we brought to every single game. And we didn't play the brand that we like to play. Obviously, we had a bit of the ball, but we didn't really get close to the other team while we were pressing them. And we just didn't do enough to create a lot of quality chances in the game. So it was a difficult game for us. They're a great team. It was a good test, and I think we can, look in the mirror now and get better from here.
Do you think that was on the individual players, or was it the game plan coming in? In terms of the overall performance. I mean, was that down to just individual performances by the players, or?
Sure. I guess you could say that. I think it's just understanding what it means when you're playing an international game. No matter if it's a friendly or a World Cup or a Gold Cup or a qualifier, whatever it is, when you put on the crest, there's a certain expectation, certain level of intensity that you need to bring forth. And I think we reacted quite well, into the second half on the intensity that we brought to the game. We just couldn't turn that into a goal to equalize.
Are you noticing any nerves in the team ahead of the World Cup? Cup? Is that manifesting in training? Or?
No, definitely not. I think our focus is on the present, on the here and now. There's a lot of things that we know and understand that we're a young team and we're going to have to go through some tough moments here and there. And I think the important thing is not to compound things. So we go from a tough day, a performance that we can definitely build upon. And, it'll all come out in the next game, and hopefully we can right a lot of our wrongs and ride a nice wave going into Qatar.
What's your impression about the Tonti?
Oh, yeah. It was, I thought they were a great team, very technical, gifted on the ball, picked really smart moments to press, and pressed together. And they showed their togetherness. And then not only all those things, but they were definitely up for a fight. And they got muddy, they got dirty, and it was a really fun game to be a part of, to be honest. I think it was a real eye-opener for us. I'll just say Tomiyasu. That's an easy answer. I was very impressed with him. I thought he had a great game, and I love that guy. He's a really great person.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.